Netflix has put out some amazing anime with a variety of different styles and different niches, and what's at the forefront of the front page is Dandadan. Dandadan is an action anime at its heart, and features plenty of unique fights and characters, but which of these characters are the strongest, and who could use some workouts? I'm Kifinosi with OtakuBinge, and this is Dandadan, Weak to Powerful. And of course, spoilers ahead. Starting with the weakest characters in the series and moving until we hit the strongest, this is the Weak to Powerful. As the weakest characters on our list, we start off with the pair Miko and Muko. Miko and Muko are the duo of Momo's friends who appear throughout the series. Now, these two do nothing of note throughout the series. They get in no fights and have no unique equipment nor any sort of powers that we can see. This, of course, automatically places them at the very bottom of the list, so let's not waste too much time on them. Moving up the list, we have Queen. While she appears for a far shorter time than Miko or Muko, she does actually have something to talk about as far as power goes. Queen is the school nurse who appears for a singular episode where she doesn't do much beyond talk to our main cast. However, whilst talking to our main cast, she shows her hands. She holds a flogging whip that we see her use when she's smacking her fellow administration member. She seems to smack pretty hard, but not much harder than a normal human, and in a show like this, that's not enough to put her anywhere above this. Continuing with the humans of the cast, we have Aira's friends up next. Aira's friends are a duo of unnamed characters who don't appear often, but have one specific moment that puts them above Queen. Aira's friends are seen physically restraining Momo Ayase for a few moments without any repercussions. While it can be assumed that Momo was likely holding back so as to not hurt them, it still is quite the feat to hold down and restrain her regardless. This is what places them above Queen, but even then it doesn't mean much in the grand scheme of things. We continue with our normal human characters, as up next is Jin and Joji, aka Gigi. Jin is by far the most powerful non-powered human, and it's not even a contest. Jin, unlike other non-powered humans, can actually see yokai, as shown by the fact that he can see the evil eye who haunts him and is implied to see Momo's ghostly arms and Okarun's transformation. This alone puts him above the previous contestants, but add on to that the fact that he almost effortlessly held on to Momo as she was dragged around town by Taro, and it's clear that he's quite strong. He's also able to hold Momo back enough to keep Taro pinned down as well. Gigi is inserted into the series far too late to show us a lot, but from what we see, it's clear that he's the strongest human. But that's nowhere near gold, so don't get your hopes up, Gigi. We move on to our first actual magical creature, Cat Turbo Granny. This is an example of one of a few alternate forms we'll be tackling in this list. This is the form Turbo Granny takes after her consciousness is stripped from Okarun and put into a lucky cat statue. This completely removes any of her powers, making her essentially useless in a fight. However, she does have one major boon whilst in this form. Even without her powers, because of her new vessel, she's blessed with insane luck that no one else can stop. This is exemplified by her presence leading to the Silky swallowing her own highly flammable hair. This extreme luck makes her a force to be reckoned with, but she is also extremely small, fragile, and can't fight at all, which makes her the weakest of the magical creatures we see in the show. Moving further up our list of strength is the Hospital Serpoians. This trio of Serpoians are the ones found in the hospital and are not particularly strong. When we meet them, they're able to knock people out with their powers, which is how they kidnapped Momo. They're also shown to be able to knock people backward or assumedly move freely with their psychokinesis. This power is quite strong by itself, but we also see that it's capable of messing with people's brainwaves as a light form of hypnosis almost. They also have the technique of serpogrammetry, which fires invisible projectiles that are quite strong, and while we see them fight against the powered-up Okarun, they are pretty quickly taken out. We can assume they have the same powers as the school Serpoians, but without any evidence, this trio is placed here. From aliens to yokai, the next creature on our list is the Earthbound Spirit Crab. This location-bound crab is a spirit bound to a tunnel in Shono City, and because of how the spirit works, it cannot leave Shono City or it will instantly die. This limitation does drag it down quite a bit, but that doesn't take away from the fact that it is shown easily breaking through large buildings, breaking asphalt streets, and tearing through even fortified areas. These strengths do make the crab a very formidable foe, but its location-bound weakness and the fact that it can be stopped by being boiled in a sauna stop it from going any higher. As we continue on our journey through the monsters, here's the Flatwoods Monster. The Flatwoods Monster is an alien creature who was an associate of the Serpoians. Being a minor antagonist, he doesn't do a ton of unique stuff, but we can see the increase in strength ever so slightly due to this fight. While his attacks crush through buildings with relative ease, like the previously mentioned crab, he's also shown shattering stone with his punches and dealing massive damage to both Momo and Okarun with his increased power. What brings a Flatwoods monster above the crab is the notable difference in his unique power set. The Flatwoods monster has two unique abilities that make him a formidable foe, the first of which is his Black Mist. The mist is poisonous and is said to be comparable to mustard gas, and it's used to disable and damage his foes, as we see with Momo and Okarun. His other unique ability is to grow large legs from his back to keep him upright. This is used to stop the monster from hitting the floor, because if one of his hands hits the floor, his arm is destroyed. Which is of course a major problem for old Flatty, and the main reason he didn't rank any higher than here. But not to be outclassed, up next on our list is none other than Turbo Granny. Turbo Granny is the first major villain of the story, a yokai who stays within Shono City to be close to the earthbound crab spirit. Turbo Granny has a lot of unique abilities which brings her up a bit further than most. She's very fast, moving over 100 kilometers per hour, or about 63 miles per hour, which is much faster than any normal human can move, in case you were unaware. She's also extremely strong, as we see her dispatch most of the hospital Serpoians with ease, and as such becomes a very strong asset. She's able to curse people at will, as well as remove said curses at will, and it makes her very hard to deal with. However, she does have a few glaring weaknesses. She can't pass protected barriers like Seiko's Tori Gate, and she's also unable to swim. However, while these weaknesses can cause problems, Turbo Granny's ability to curse anyone she sees and even kill them with a curse, and her sheer survivability with feats such as hopping into Okarun's soul right as she was dying, make her quite the threat when she has powers. Maybe surprising a few by ranking above the first main villain. Up next on our list is Taro. Taro is a living anatomy dummy who lives within the high school. It's unknown what brought him to life, but we see him leave the school to find his lover. Taro is unique in that he only has a few moments to speak on, but they do give up a lot about his potential ability. We see he has immense stamina and speed. He can even outrun Okarun with Turbo Granny's power, even when Okarun is going what can be assumed to be full speed. If we assume that Okarun doesn't have Turbo Granny's full power, even then, being so much faster implies that he's at least running around 50 to 75 kilometers per hour or around 40 miles per hour. If we assume Okarun has enough control to reach Granny's top speed, that puts him over the 100 mark. But even then, since Momo and Okarun have trouble keeping up with Taro, it's safe to assume that he's running at least as fast as Turbo Granny was. He can also keep up his top speed for a long time, and what makes him the stronger of the two comes down to his ability to regenerate. We witnessed twice where Taro splits apart totally and comes back together, able to disassemble and reassemble at will. He also can reassemble even if the damage done to him is by an outside force. Because of this, it may be impossible to kill Taro, and while he doesn't have a lot of output, that deserves a spot here still. But even Taro can't hold a candle to Nessie. Nessie is a large Loch Ness-esque creature that the Serpoians hired to hunt down and kill Momo. And while Nessie doesn't appear for long, he has a lot of unique abilities that make him quite powerful. Nessie causes a flood of water wherever he goes, and when this is put to full strength, it can even turn a building structure into water, which is hard to comprehend the power of. While this makes things difficult for our main cast, what truly makes Nessie so powerful is his high-pressured water cannon laser. By sucking in water through his gills, he can form and fire a powerful laser that slices through walls with ease and even cuts a Serpoian in half with ease. This powerful water laser does have the drawback of not being able to be fired continuously, as it needs to be powered by sucking in more water. Of course, summoning floods wherever he goes does give Nessie a lot of water to do this with, but also being noted as not being intelligent and just operating on blind rage stops him from going higher on the list. But what happens when you combine blind rage, strength, and a strategic mind? You get the Granny Crab fusion. During the events of Shono City, Turbo Granny and the Earthbound Spirit Crab fuse together. This new creature becomes a formidable foe, having all of the crab's strength and power alongside Granny's speed and her mind, able to do amazing things because of this. They can summon massive hands from the ground to seize or trap their foes, and are also shown entirely shifting and changing areas of Shono City with ease. We also see that they can communicate with the spirits in the city, which can be used to possess the civilians, making an entire army at her fingertips. But her one major weakness stops her from ranking any higher on the list, that being that she cannot leave Shono City. Sure, while within Shono City she's damn near invincible, but the moment she leaves, she instantly dies, and we don't see them defuse before she dies, so we don't know if it's permanent either. Speaking of permanent fusion, up next on our list is the acrobatic Silky. This large red dress wearing yokai is a very strong opponent that Okarun and Momo have to face. This extra large monster has a variety of unique skills that make her quite the threat. Like her name implies, she's a highly acrobatic yokai that's able to flip, spin, and jump around with ease, making her almost impossible to hit at first. She also has total control over her hair, able to wrap it around things, use it to attack, or even wrap things up that get in her way. However, this does have its limits, as she doesn't have an infinite amount of hair and it can get tangled rather easily. So relatable. Both of these will lock her down for a short time, as she'll need to untangle herself. Her hair is also immensely strong, able to rip things apart and be used as a weapon because of this. However, her biggest weakness is the fact that her hair is immensely flammable, as when it's ignited, it pretty much falls out of her head. This of course stops her from going any higher, however, it does not mean that she's weak by any standards. Moving higher on our list is none other than Seiko Ayase. Seiko is Momo's grandmother and a powerful psychic with immense strength and a massive amount of knowledge of yokai and spirits. Seiko's knowledge and power make her quite the foe due to her powerful bat with a massive graphite pencil in it that allows her to draw on the battlefield while fighting. This allows her to draw sigils or other things that can be used against her foes, like when she traps Turbo Granny while fighting her. She's immensely intelligent, able to strategize and change her strategy on a dime, a master hand-to-hand combatant, and can fight with nearly any weapon she comes across. That's not all, because she's an accomplished medium, able to detect and reveal things about people even they themselves don't know. So much so that she has her own TV show. Because of this, she can not only see spirits, but has a deep knowledge of them and their weaknesses. This leads to her having a variety of tools to fight any yokai she goes up against, such as her powerful yokai barrier. This barrier burns and harms yokai who try to cross it, leading to her being able to trap and defeat yokai with relative ease. Despite all of these great skills and attributes, Seiko has one major weakness. She cannot use her skills outside of Kamigoe City, save for her enhanced physicality, making her less of a threat to yokai away from home. However, despite this, she is still quite a threat, and we can't deny her position on the list. As we get higher and higher on the list, we get to stronger foes like the school Serpoians. This trio of Serpoians ambushes Okarun and Momo at the school and proves to be a much greater threat than the trio at the hospital. This trio not only blocks off the entire school so they can attack Momo and Okarun separately from the rest of the school, they have all the abilities of the hospital Serpoians and seem to be even more skilled than those three. Not only do we see them more actively using their psychokinesis more often and to a stronger degree than their hospital counterparts, they're shown actually able to hold down Okarun with their psychokinesis this time, able to fire their serpogrammetry without saying a word, and making them even more dangerous than before. But this trio also shows off two very unique abilities that make them much more difficult to deal with. The first of these is the Awesome Zone. When the trio works together, they formulate a heavy gravity psychokinesis zone that holds foes in place. However, the Serpoians cannot enter it because it requires all of their energy. Now, we do see that this can be countered by Momo's abilities with relative ease, but we also see that these Serpoians have a connective wire that they can do a variety of things with, such as empowering Mr. Mantis Shrimp, or even fusing with others. Such abilities make these Serpoians far more dangerous, and definitely show they deserve to be so high up on our list. Despite this, they're clearly outmatched by our next contestant, Mr. Mantis Shrimp. Mr. Mantis Shrimp is a Dover demon that appears during the school Serpoians invasion, and he outclasses them pretty easily. This is because, in his base form, he's capable of sending people through walls and buildings with a single punch, and is also shown to be terrifyingly fast, able to ambush even Okarun. These make him a potent threat, especially compared to the Serpoians. He can also wind up the punch to make it even stronger, known as the powerful Jet Punch. He's also able to turn into his species' upgraded form, becoming more like a mantis shrimp than before, able to punch even stronger than before, displacing towers of water with each punch, becoming even faster and becoming even stronger when underwater. However, he's unable to breathe underwater, which is what stops him from getting even higher on our list. Ranking right outside our top 3 is Aira Shiratori. Aira is the pink-haired girl and one of the most popular kids in school, and when she first appears, she doesn't have any powers, despite that she's shown to be quite intelligent. After defeating the acrobatic Silky and selflessly giving up her life, Aira gained the abilities of the acrobatic Silky. These include increased strength and agility, as well as a variety of unique abilities. She also now has powerful legs that give her immense strength, especially when kicking. She's also extremely durable and can grow out and use her hair in a variety of ways, such as when she used it as a running path for Okarun. She's less skilled than the acrobatic Silky before her, but can use these powers freely against anyone, unlike the Silky who could have only fought against foes that could see her. She also seems to be more creative than the Silky, able to use her powers in a variety of unique ways that the Silky never did. Aira doesn't have a lot to dissect yet, but we can tell she'll become a very powerful character soon enough. Grabbing the bronze medal of power is the Serpo Dover Demon Nessie. The Serpo Dover Demon Nessie is the forced fusion of the remaining school Serpoian, Mr. Mantis Shrimp, and Nessie, and it has all of the strengths of those three creatures combined. The intelligence of a Serpoian, the punching strength of a Dover Demon Shrimp, and of course the concentrated laser of the Nessie. Having the immense underwater punching power of the Dover Demon makes him already a threat to be reckoned with, but now having the Nessie's ability to breathe underwater makes him even stronger than he already was. While all of these powers together were very strong, it was also easy to trick the fusion, and its body could physically not handle its own punches if they were done out of the water. This combination of really powerful abilities and easy to take advantage of weaknesses stops him from getting past third place. Hitting our penultimate powerhouse, the silver medal of strength goes to none other than Okarun. Okarun is the main protagonist, and it's no surprise the main protagonist would be so powerful. After being cursed by Turbo Granny, he gained spiritual powers, which made him quite powerful. He's now able to run at amazing speeds, unleash powerful attacks, and become surprisingly durable. Even if we say his powers are at about half of what Turbo Granny has shown, he still very easily outclasses her. Even with half of her speed, he's still able to surprise attack giant sumo monsters and almost got the upper hand on the Silky when they fought. He's still very much learning how to control his powers, but the path is becoming very clear. By the end of the first season, Okarun can use the cursed state almost at will and doesn't need to be controlled by Tori Gates or Momo. His immense speed, strength, and survivability make him a menace to those who are unprepared, but even that doesn't make him our number one pick. And that number one pick, earning our gold medal of power, is our hero herself, Momo Ayase. Momo is the other main protagonist of the series, and as such has a whole lot of powers up her sleeves, and she is by far the strongest character in the series. She has a variety of unique powers thanks to her awakening her psychic abilities. These abilities include, but are not limited to, seeing the auras of people and yokai, moving things with her mind, and summoning and using giant spectral hands to interact with the world. Momo's psychic abilities are notably strong. She's able to push Turbo Granny out of Okarun's body and keep him in his human state as long as she kept her concentration on him. Her giant spectral hands could hold on to the speeding Taro. She was capable of keeping Turbo Granny at bay by physically holding her down. She can manipulate auras by touch and is amazingly durable, as shown when she's repeatedly slammed into a wall by the Flatwoods monster, and can also react in the blink of an eye. Momo is capable of repelling the Awesome Zone, which requires 3 aliens at full power to create, and is also shown to displace hundreds of gallons of water at once, which would require a massive amount of force to do. All of this put together easily places Momo Ayase at the top of the list. But let us know in the comments section if you agree with our ranking, and tell us what we should cover next. Remember to hit that notification bell and binge our Good to Evil playlist, where we break down the morality of the characters in your favorite cartoons, shows, and movies. But most importantly, stay wicked.